Hi folks, and welcome to Windows in the Cloud, our new tech series dedicated to Windows 365 Cloud PC for IT pros like yourself. So I'm your host, Christiaan Brinkhoff, a featured PM on the Windows 365 engineering team, and we hope you to join us every month right here as we explore new technology-focused topics alongside with members from the community, Microsoft engineering, customers, and as well end users like yourself. So our aim is to give you technical insights about our product by the folks creating it, deploying it, and using it. So if that all makes you excited, here are a couple of guests that we have in store for you in the next couple of episodes. We have an Ignite Updates episode regarding Windows 365 Cloud PC with Scott Manchester, the Director of Program Management of Windows 365 Cloud PC. We have a deployment best practices session with somebody from the product group, and as well a secret MVP guest, a special guest that will explain everything related to Windows 365 best practices from the community. So in the first episode, we are very excited to kick off the series about Windows 11 and Windows 365. So I'm very pleased to introduce our first guest, Jennifer, also known as Gentleman, a Senior Program Manager at Microsoft, previously known as a Community Manager at Microsoft. So welcome, Jen. How are you doing?
Hi, good, excellent.
It's a great pleasure to have you here. And we all know you, and we have been laughing with your cat on the background here. So I hope he stays quiet a little bit right now.
Yeah, disclaimer for everyone listening. If you hear purring, that's not me. That's the cat.
It's a great special guest here. No worries on that. It's fun to have an extra animal guest on the show today.
You know, it's the work from home. It's that work from home life, you know?
Exactly. It entertains you while you are active on social media or chatting with customers. So,
you know, I did have a cat once, press F4 on a dock that I was working on. That was not the best.
Maybe, and that's something we allude a little bit to what we are going to discuss, but maybe the cat created some shortcuts in Windows, perhaps, while working on the keyboard, and then all of a sudden you have an idea in your head. Hey, that's a good idea to build into Windows. Maybe it's a little bit too far ahead, but it could happen.
We do. I have some keyboard shortcuts that I colloquially call finger dances. But yeah, most of cats are better, I think, for discovery than introduction of keyboard shortcuts. The last thing I want is more things that my cat can accidentally trigger while using my PC.
Can you introduce, for the audience that don't know you, who you are, what you do as part of Microsoft, and where people can know you off?
Yeah, for sure. I have worked at Microsoft and on Windows for just over 13 years now. I didn't have all this gray hair when I started working at Microsoft. That's because of aging, not because of who I work for. I love the company. And I've done a few things over the years, but probably what I'm most known for these days is managing and investigating feedback for my team's areas and helping to prioritize what's next and tell customers what's next. I think some of the people watching might know me from Twitter or Reddit as JenOnsFT. Engaging in social media is one of my favorite parts of my job, but it is only a small part of what I do. Most of what I do is behind the scenes investigation. So.
Yeah, I think most people will know you and really appreciate all the time and effort you take in sharing some of the new stuff that are happening in Windows 11, as well as some tips and tricks and such. So keep doing that, and that's exactly what we are going to discuss during this show in Windows 11 as part of Windows 365 Cloud PC. So before we do that, I would like to explain a little bit for the audience what Windows 365 Cloud PC is and what it is in the conjunction of Windows 11. So Windows 365 Cloud PC is a new service as part of Microsoft, as part of Windows, that can bring Windows up to the cloud, and you can connect from any device, from any place, anywhere, to your Windows 11 Cloud PC. So Satya Nadella announced a new service at Inspire in July, and he explained that very explicitly and clearly with a quote: just like apps were brought to the cloud with SaaS, we are now bringing the Windows operating system to the cloud with Cloud PC. And that's exactly what the service is. And the other great thing about the service is that it supports all the hardware flow requirements as part of Windows 11. So the TPM chip, Secure Boot, as well as UEFI is supported in the cloud. So you can connect from an iPad or any other device you have that is not aligning with Windows 11 hardware flow requirements, and just take it from there, all working via the Microsoft Endpoint Manager console. So let's just get started and jump into Windows 11. And I had a side chat with you, Jen, in preparation to this episode, and you said like an operating system today is an evolving product, a service, and it's like different from how it was in the past, and in the future, like even like tomorrow, it can be different too, because it's an ongoing release cycle and updates. Can you share a little bit more about that, how that works and how it has changed in Windows 11?
Yeah, for sure. I don't know. Sometimes I get the impression from feedback that people think that Windows 11 is sort of set in stone from what we release to retail. But I think if anyone has been watching the Windows 10 development, you know that we kept working on Windows 10. We kept improving Windows 10 as the years progressed. And I expect the very same thing to happen with Windows 11. We've already made some improvements based on the dev. We've already made some improvements in the dev channel based on feedback that we've received from users, and I am looking forward to more improvements starting to light up.
Yeah, so just like all the changes in Windows 10 moving to Windows as a service, and now the move to Windows 11, the release cycle changes as well a little bit. So like Windows 10 has been released like every 6 months, and that will change to like every year. So that's a change. But it doesn't mean, as you said yourself, Jennifer, that like constant updates and improvements don't happen into the product. And that's, I think, really powerful. And as well, exactly the role that you fulfill is like listen to customers and see how we can address those features inside Windows 11 to make more like a productive workspace environment for end users. And that brings me up to the next topic, and as well the more interactive piece of this episode. Let's jump into a demo where you can show a little bit of the changes, the Big Bang wallpaper changes, start menu changes, and things like that. So
the Cloud PC wallpaper is gorgeous. I don't know that I've seen it before you shared the Cloud PC with me before, but I kind of want to put this on all of my computers. I think it's wonderful.
Yeah, we had a great partnership with the Windows branding team on this, and this is an exclusive wallpaper created in the Microsoft Studios for Windows 365 Cloud PC, and we received great feedback. It's currently the light version, but we are working on a dark version as well. So I can send it to you if you want. You can make it your local wallpaper too if you want to.
Please do.
Or switch to a Cloud PC primarily. That would be the better option, perhaps.
But I have so many computers that I use locally. This is really convenient, though. I have to admit. Some of the things you've showed me, and a little trick I'll show later in the demo, based on something else you showed me. It's very convenient for people who don't have a stack of laptops like I do.
Yeah, and that's not only it, right? If you're a business and you need to provide like a new user, a corporate environment that can connect to your backend services, then Cloud PC is a great option too, without shipping a laptop and such. With like silicon chip shortages right now, it could be a challenge, and Cloud PC is just ready for you on any bring your own device too. So I see you're with a Cloud PC environment on your screen already, Jennifer. So can you share some of the excited new changes in the UX and wallpaper start menu changes that we all have been seeing regarding Windows 11 in the Cloud PC environment?
Yeah, for sure. You know, I debated a lot what I was going to show you today, because I think I could probably spend hours covering some of the different things that might interest people or excite people, but I will dive right in. When someone gets Windows 11, you know, when they unwrap it and see it for the very first time, I think this is the screenshot that we see the most often. You know, you see that iconic wallpaper, you see the new updated start menu with the centered silhouette, you see the rounded corners. And it's funny, you know, when I use Windows 10 now and people, it doesn't happen very often. But if someone were to ask me, like, what's the biggest impact going from 10 to 11, I would say it's this experience. And then especially like it's opening settings for the first time. I added the settings icon to be beside the power button. That is a personal preference. It's not there by default, but if you want to go in there and do that same sort of thing, it is an option in start settings for everyone. Fun fact. But yeah, this is settings. I'm so in love with the updated design of settings. I just feel it's so much more modern. It makes so much better use of the space. You can see, well, I'm using a Cloud PC right now, but it feels that much more welcoming. Like you're there. It's very obvious. It's your computer. And we've also, the navigation pane is now always visible, which is one of the decisions we made to help people find what they're looking for in settings. I don't know if you've ever, you know, clicked a link that opens directly to a specific settings page, but sometimes like you have that full screen page and then you're like, well, how do I get back to the other settings? You don't necessarily know about the back button, or if the back button is there, maybe it doesn't take you to the right page. The other thing we have now is that if you go to any subpage, you'll actually see a persistent navigation view of all of the pages. I mean, however many layers deep you're in settings, like you have the navigation up at the top, and you can actually just click in the navigation the page you want to switch to as well, which is really cool. Don't mind my cat popping along for the demo. But one of my favorite, if someone were to ask me, like, what's my favorite Windows 11 feature, it would be like picking a favorite child. But obviously, it's probably going to be either the snap layouts work or the emoji panel work. But I'll go to that second one later. The snap layouts work. I have such a love. I mean, I'm sure, Christiaan, you're familiar with Snap. We introduced it with Windows 7, I believe, for the first time. And, you know, we had the left-right snapping, and then we had the quadrant snapping. And you could use the keyboard shortcuts, so you could sort of drag it to the side of the screen. Fan favorite, been around for a while. And my thing with Snap is that, like, I love it, but if you're not someone who is intimately diving into all our keyboard shortcuts or like poking around at things, it's not been very discoverable over the years. And so like, I could probably give you examples even from the last week on Twitter of people discovering Snap for the very first time. And it's awesome. Like they're so excited and they love it so much, but we really would like better turnaround on discoverability for some of these features, especially if they're really going to like it and it's going to make Windows a much better experience for them. So one of the things to note with Windows 11 is when you hover over the Maximize button, we now actually show a layout of available Snap options. And more so, the Snap options actually will update depending on the orientation and size of your screen. So, Christiaan, you showed me that if I shrink the browser size, it will actually change the resolution of the Cloud PC, which I think is super cool. And it's also really great for this demo because you can see now I've gone from having the 4 different options side by side to now having 6 options. One of the 6 options is that we now natively support having 3 windows side by side. And not just that, if you are using a portrait mode monitor, this whole flyout will basically just turn on its side, and then all the options will be way more appropriate for a portrait mode monitor. I don't know if you've ever tried to snap 2 windows side by side on portrait mode. They're very long and skinny. It's good if you want to read news articles, I guess. But I think most people wanted top and bottom snapping. And, that's what we heard from feedback as well. Like, bring top bottom snapping to Windows. So we have it. And I can't demo that, right here because I am on a landscape monitor. However, I can say, so not only in the snap layouts flyout, but if you press the Windows key plus Alt, and then up or down, it will snap the window to the top and bottom of the screen. Just like, Windows key plus left, right will snap it to the sides. So, all keyboard shortcuts, and as well slip one in there while we're talking.
You're the keyboard shortcut master. You know them all at the top of your head, it seems.
I do. I don't know. I don't know what got me into keyboard shortcuts. I use Control-Shift-Escape all the time for Task Manager. Not because there's something wrong with my PC. I just like having it open, looking at it. I don't know if you saw, I helped the content folks, and we have if you go to the Windows keyboard shortcuts documentation on support.microsoft.com, we have it all updated for Windows 11 now. And so you can see all the new keyboard shortcuts we have, all the ones that are still there, and walk through them, all that jazz.
Yeah, that's amazing. So can you show how you put them on the side via the option real quick? How that works?
Yeah, for sure. I think I got too excited. I didn't actually show it snapping.
With the cats on the side, always a good thing to show.
I hope you don't mind. I downloaded a few cat pictures. I downloaded in preparation for something else I wanted to show you, but if I'm going to use a picture, I may as well use a cat.
Yeah, no, that's great. It makes it more personal as well, of course. What I see too is that the virtual desktop switcher is now as well, again, part of the taskbar. Can you explain a little bit about that?
Yeah, so Task View has always been part of the taskbar, but if you had any virtual desktops that you wanted to use, you would have to go into Task View in order to use them, or you had to know the keyboard shortcuts, which again, we mentioned, keyboard shortcuts aren't always discoverable for everyone. So with Windows 11, if you hover over the Task View icon, we now actually do show all the different desktops that you've added, as well as giving you the ability to add new desktops. I hope you don't mind, I named all my desktops. That's not a Windows 11 feature, but it is one that I love, along with emoji, which I'm a fan of. What is a Windows 11 feature is that we now have the ability to have per desktop wallpapers. The whole concept of desktops is to cognitively separate the different things that you're working on into sort of different spaces. And in Windows 10, it was good, but because you couldn't set a different wallpaper on each desktop, it makes all the spaces sort of blend together. So one of the top feedback items that we had was to give this ability to help separate them a bit better by having the different wallpapers. And it probably would look, if I didn't have Windows covering my whole screen, you could see a little bit better that they are now unique, which is all you have to do is go into personalization settings and then background, and then right-click the wallpaper that you want. And you can see this option to pick between your different desktops.
Yeah, you don't want to replace the original Windows 11 Cloud PC wallpaper.
It's too pretty. I can't. Yeah, I have to keep that one there. I'll switch the other ones, but
And we are actually working on a dark version of it too, so that will show up in the future as well as an option there as part of Windows 365 Cloud PC.
I am a big fan of dark theme.
Yeah, it's a personal preference, but I really like to have, like, in the evening, a darker background, and over day, like normal working day, just have a light view, just like your GPS system changes as well while it's getting dark. So yeah, I definitely think there should be two. So we are working on the dark version of that as well. So while you're showing some of those nice, great UX improvements, I heard you are pretty involved in the Dev Channel Insider Ring, like Windows Insiders programs too. Can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, so the Dev Channel. For those who aren't familiar with the Insider program, we have 3 channels that people can select from. The Dev Channel, the Beta Channel, and the Release Preview Channel. And the Dev Channel is our active development branch, and we send out new builds to the insiders in the Dev Channel pretty regularly as we work on evolving the Windows experience. This PC is not in the Dev Channel. I tried to put it in the Dev Channel. It's currently on the retail version of Windows 11. And if you were in the Dev Channel, one of the features that we just added, so you might notice we've done some work on the context menus in Windows 11. And one of the things that we did was that it is now possible to copy as path right from the context menu. Of course, enthusiasts probably know you could hold Shift and then right-click in Windows 10, and you'd get that copy as path option. That is not very discoverable. So the copy as path option is now just right there. But if you're in the Dev Channel, you actually no longer need to open the context menu at all to do copy as path. You can just press Control, Shift, and C, and it will copy the path rather than copying the file itself. And then you could paste it wherever you happen to need to paste it. So lots of other changes in the Dev Channel. I love it there, but that's just a little one that's one of my favorites.
Yeah, if you're tech savvy, you can always join the Windows Insiders program and then get all those features like faster than they hit production. So yeah, great tips here and insights. So one thing that has improved in Windows 11 is the Microsoft Store as well, right? Can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, we've gotten a lot of feedback about the Microsoft Store over the years, and I really like the changes they've been working on. I mean, the design feels so much nicer, so much fresher, and a lot more apps are available in the store with the new version that weren't previously available.
Yeah, one of the great things is that you can now install Win32 apps besides UWP apps, so it's way more like approachable for a lot of use cases because of that. So I think it's a great asset, and yeah, just get used to it or try it out, I should say to the audience here. One thing before we close off this episode is I introduced that Cloud PC is completely supported with TPM and such. Can you show the audience that the TPM chip is actually working inside this Cloud PC?
I can indeed.
Awesome. And there it is. The
Live
TPM
proof.
chip.
It is real.
Awesome. So regardless of any endpoint you have, you can use Windows 11 in a compliant manner from in the cloud and scalable as well. So great stuff here. So how can people provide feedback for Windows 11 in Windows 11, Jen?
Yeah, our official tracking database for the all Windows feedback is the Feedback Hub. So it should be installed on any PC by default, but if it's not there for some reason, you can always get it from the store. You can launch it on the fly by pressing the Windows key plus F, and that'll launch you straight into the feedback submission form. And it will be me on the other end and many other people reading your incoming comments and requests.
Yeah, and the other option is perhaps to reach out on Twitter to you, right? So how can people stay in touch with you?
Well, I would prefer if you file feedback in the feedback hub rather than telling me everything. But if you do want to reach me on Twitter, you can find me at JenMSFT, and it is the exact same account on Reddit as well.
Okay, awesome. So one more thing before I wrap up here. If you're interested in learning more about Windows 365 Cloud PC and then the technical specifics, as well as Microsoft Endpoint Manager and Windows 11, I just released a book together with Pearl Larson, which you can purchase on Amazon if you search for Mastering Microsoft Endpoint Manager. So if you're interested in that, please have a look there. And with that, I would like to thank my first guest, Jen. So big thumbs up, and hope to get you back on the show after a couple of improvements in Windows 11, just to see if we can do a refreshed version of this or something, because it was a lot of fun. And thanks to your cat as well for being such a great guest on the show too.
You're welcome. He really does what he wants, but he's happy that you're thankful.
I will give him some cookies once I'm around, that's for sure.
Thank you.
So with that, I would like to thank you, the audience, as well. And make sure to follow us on aka.ms/Windows in the Cloud, and my own social channel that you can find on either Christiaan Brinkhoff or at Brinkhoff_C. And we hope to see you next time at the next episode. So thank you all.